What's good, Guardians? It's been a while, but we're back, and today we're diving deep into one of the best builds in Destiny 2, the final shape right now. This build offers incredible crowd control as well as tons of damage from your infinite rockets. We'll be breaking down everything from the subclass and mods to weapons and gear, and of course the dim link will be down in the description if you want to save it to your own Guardian. If you're ready to blow your rocket load, then let's jump right in. First up, let's talk about this subclass selection. For this build, of course, we're going to be going with Prismatic. The brand new Prismatic subclass has been incredibly fun, so I figured let's use it right here. For the super, it's actually going to be a preference. You can use whatever super you want. However, I'm definitely going to go ahead and recommend the new super, Twilight Arsenal. This thing is an absolute beast. When you use it, you summon 3 void axes and you throw them at your foes, one after another. On impact, the axes pull in nearby enemies and detonate in a weakening explosion. After exploding, the axes can be picked up by you or your allies and be used as a weapon for a short time. You can either do a nice void slash, or you can even do the throwing axe, which consumes the rest of the ammo, but it hits very hard. But again, use whatever super you want. This one is awesome. Now moving on to the abilities, the first one I'm going to go ahead and recommend for our class ability, I'm going to recommend the thruster. You can use barricades if you want. That's definitely something that you can do in maybe like endgame content if you feel like it. This is more of a running gun type of thing in my opinion, so thruster kind of just makes it so you can use it really quick. The rockets are going to shoot out of you from your exotic, and then basically the enemies will die in front of you. So again, thruster's very, very good here. Movement ability, you can use whatever you want. I like strafe lift on the Titan. For the melee ability here, I like to use the shield throw, and that's because I kind of like to keep my distance a little bit while using this class, just because of how the exotic works. You really don't want to be right on top of the enemy, because then it just doesn't really work out too well. So staying back and using that shield throw is going to be extra good, especially because it's going to be able to give us overshield as well. And then for the grenade, I like to use the shackle grenade just because it's an easy grenade to use. You throw it at an enemy and they get suspended, and then you can either use your rockets on them, you can throw your shield at them, or you can aim your gun and hit them in the head to get more rockets for your exotic. There's a lot of things to do here with the shackle grenade, so that's why I'm going to recommend it. But now we're going to go ahead and move on to the aspects. The first aspect we're going to be going over is going to be knockout. Critically wounding a target or breaking their shield infuses your melee attacks with arc energy and increases your melee range and damage for a short time. And then after defeating targets with melee attacks, it makes you amplified, which restores a portion of your health. So this is going to be definitely about us getting some health back. And then of course we're going to be using Drenger's Lash as well. So activating your thruster creates an unstable knot of strand matter that detonates after a short time delay, and it suspends the targeted enemies. So not only are you going to be thrusting because your exotic is going to be shooting rockets out of your ass, you're also going to be able to suspend enemies with this as well. So it's very, very easy. It's a no-brainer to use this. And then of course we got 5 fragments to go over. A lot of the fragments you have to unlock after you beat the campaign, but these are some of the fragments that I chose to use. First one's going to be Facet of Hope. While you have an elemental buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly, which of course is going to help us get our thruster back even faster. Then we have Facet of Purpose. Picking up an Orb of Power grants either Amplified Restoration, Frosted Armor, Woven Mail, or Overshield based on the damage of your equipped super. So for us, it would give us Overshield whenever we pick up an Orb of Power, which this build will be around orbs. Next up, we got Facet of Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage, and then while transcendent, the effect is increased. So basically, you're going to be not super close to enemies, but close enough to where this is going to proc for you. So you're going to be a little bit more resistant, which is nice. And for the fourth one here, we got Facet of Bravery. Defeating targets with grenade final blows grants volatile rounds to your void weapons, which we won't really be using. However, defeating targets with powered melee final blows, like your shield, grants unraveling rounds to your strand weapons. The main weapons we're going to be using are going to be strand. I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 options here, but that's going to be a little bit later in the video. But now we're going to go over to the 5th fragment here, which is going to be Facet of Balance. Rapidly defeating targets with light damage increases melee energy. Rapidly defeating targets with darkness damage grants grenade energy. So basically, when we're using our strand weapons, it's going to be giving us some nice grenade energy back, which is nice because then we can get our shackle grenade back. So next up, this would be the part where I would go into talking about the seasonal artifact mods. This season, we have the Hunter's Journal as the artifact. I don't really find any that is a huge benefit to this. We're going to be getting some more in Act 2 and in Act 3, but that's going to be like a month and 2 months ahead. So right now, I'm actually not going to go ahead and put any any seasonal artifact mods in this. But if you find one you like, definitely let me know in the comment section, because I definitely want to make this build as best as possible. But with that being said, let's just go over the stats real fast. Of course, I'm going to recommend tier 10 resilience. Of course, we want to go ahead and get that damage reduction all the way up to 30%. And then of course, also resilience will give us our class ability back as fast as possible, which is also something that we really need. Second off, I would definitely go ahead and like to recommend something like discipline or even strength. Discipline's going to get us our grenades back faster. Strength is going to go ahead and get our melee back faster, which the grenades and melee are going to help get us our class ability back faster, which that's what we want. We want our class ability as much as possible. But now we're going to go ahead and deep dive right into the armor here and see what mods we've chosen. Now these mods are going to be chosen based on the weapon that I'm mostly going to be using. However, if there's a secondary weapon that I give you, you may need to change up the mods a little bit, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. So first off, of course, we're going to start with the helmet, and the helmet I chose to use the special ammo finder, which primary ammo, weapon, final blows help you find ammo more quickly, which is very nice. We're going to be using a special ammo gun, so of course we're going to need special ammo as much as possible. And then of course we got strand siphon as well, which rapid strand final blows create orbs of power. Orbs of power, it was what our whole build based on, so we definitely need those. And the last one I chose to use was actually dynamo. So it reduces your super cooldown whenever you use your class ability near enemies. You don't have to be like right up on them, but you can be pretty close and you can still use your class ability, and it's going to be able to go ahead and bring the rockets down to the enemy, and you're going to get reduced super cooldown, basically just so you can use your super more. I basically save my super whenever I see a gold bar. I kind of just let it fling. Moving on to the arms here, the first mod I chose to use was Momentum Transfer. Causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. I actually put 2 of those on here because whenever we throw our shock or grenade, we're going to go ahead and get our shield back faster, which is kind of what we want for some nice overshield. And then the other mod we use is Bolstering Detonation, which grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. So whenever you cause damage with your grenade, it's going to go ahead and give you class ability energy back, so you can use your thrust and you can use your exotic. So it all really intertwines with each other very nicely. And then of course the big daddy, this is the chest piece armor exotic Hazardous Propulsion. This is what the whole build goes around. The armor perk for this one is going to be called Danger Close. Weapon precision hits or final blows have a chance to load a kinetic Exodus rocket, and activating your class ability fires that rocket, which you can actually have up to 6 at a time, and damaging targets with the Exodus rockets temporarily increases the damage you deal with all other rockets. So this is absolutely huge for the weapons that we're going to be using. I'm going to give you a little bit more information on that very soon here. But with what we're going to be using, we're going to get bonus damage. You can stack up to 6 rockets in the backpack, and not only that, they do a shit ton of damage. They do tons of damage here. Each rocket off of your back usually hits for around 30k. Even gold bars, it honestly like melts them down. So I'm actually shocked how good this is, and I'm very excited to kind of see where this goes. But for the armor mods here, we're gonna go ahead and choose the Strand Reserves mod, which basically increases the amount of ammo you can carry for strand weapons. That's gonna help us out with our special ammo strand weapon that we're gonna be using. And then for that second mod I have there, I actually have Charged Up, which increases the maximum number of stacks of armor charge you can carry by 1. That's going to help us out with another mod here that's going to be on that class item. But first, before we get to that, onto the legs now real quick. We got the Recuperation mod, which basically replenishes health every time you pick up an orb of power, which is awesome. We also got Installation, which reduces class ability cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. So again, get those orbs, are going to be very important for this build. And then next we have the Strand Weapon Surge, which basically means that your strand weapons are going to gain small bonus damage while you have any armor charges. So while you have armor charges, when you're not really using them, you're going to get bonus damage, which is going to be fantastic. Finally, now, of course, we got the Titan Mark. I use the Distribution mod, which reduces all ability cooldowns when using your class ability near targets. Again, going to be very helpful for what we're going to be doing, spamming our thruster. Then we have Utility Kickstart. When your class ability is fully expended, your armor charge is consumed, and you gain class ability energy for each armor charge used. So right here, this is what's going to help us get our thrust back even faster. This is going to be the most helpful thing in the build for getting your thrust back, in my opinion. And then not only that, we also got Time Dilation. So your decaying armor charge has a longer duration, which is nice because it can kind of stick around longer, whether you need a little bit more time to go ahead and use your Utility Kickstart, or if you want to get the most out of those bonus damage from the strand weapons, you can definitely go ahead and do that as well. Now on to the weapons here. I'm going to give you a couple choices, probably 2 choices in each slot you can definitely use here. The first choice is what kind of this whole build is around. This is something I would definitely recommend. First weapon, of course, is going going to be the brand new legendary sidearm, the Call. It's a strand weapon. It has a rocket assisted frame, which basically means that the sidearm fires rockets itself. Projectiles explode on impact for high damage. This thing absolutely melts. You're seeing it everywhere, and it makes sense why. So there's a lot of different perk options for this. I do see there's a lot of popular god roll perks and everything like that. For what I'm going to be doing right here with this build, it is going to be a little different. The first trait I'm actually going to be recommending here is going to be Strategist, where final blows with this weapon generate class ability. That just makes sense. Activating a class ability briefly improves the weapon's stability, which is a nice little bonus there. We're trying to get our ability as fast as possible while hitting headshots. For the second perk here, I'm using Golden Tricorn, which final blows with this weapon grant bonus damage. There's a lot of damage perks in this, so you can definitely go ahead and find something that makes it work better for you. This is just a roll that I got. I kind of just use it just because of Strategist. But definitely try out your different rolls. You're definitely going to like this gun. I definitely recommend this. And the good thing about this gun as well is when you hit headshots, the percentage of times that a rocket gets filled into your exotic chest piece is very high. I want to say it's 80% or above. It's insanely high. This is why I'm going to recommend this gun. However, there's one other gun that I want to go ahead and recommend, and that's going to be Quicksilver Storm. Quicksilver Storm exotic here is going to be absolutely nuts as well because it's a fast shooting AR, it's strand, it's doing everything we want it to do. It has an awesome grenade launcher built into it. Not only that, but the exotic trait for this is rocket tracers, which landing multiple hits turns your next shot into a homing rocket, which also stacks with your chest piece. So you're also going to be able to put out some nice damage here as well. I figured out the Call was a little bit more fun to use, maybe just because maybe it's new, but either or, I would definitely give both a try because they're kind of different. For your energy weapon here, you can kind of use actually whatever you want. If you're using the Call, you definitely want to go ahead and use another weapon that can help you get special as fast as possible. Here I'm using my Ikelos SMG. Of course, I got it crafted with enhanced feeding frenzy and volt shot. But if you're running something like Quicksilver, then maybe you want something like a shotgun, maybe like a Mindbender's Ambition or something like that. But you can really run whatever you want in the energy slot. It's really not that big of a deal. However, what you want to run in your heavy slots, I'm going to go ahead and recommend we run rockets. Again, this is kind of where you can kind of pick whatever rocket you really want to go with. I like to use my Apex Predator with Reconstruction and Bipod whenever I'm using Quicksilver Storm. If I'm running the Call, I actually like to use Gallahorn. Gallahorn's really fun. I like to bring it back here. I know Truth has a huge buff right now. I haven't tested it out myself, but that might be the move over Gallahorn, but I'll have to go ahead and do a little bit more testing and see. But either way, you want to use the rocket and of course in the power weapons. You're getting a huge boost of damage from the exotic chest piece. Lastly, let's talk about the gameplay loop and some tips I can give you to make the most out of this build. Of course, this whole build revolves around your class ability, which of course is going to be your thrust. Every time you thrust, you're going to shoot rockets out of your back as long as you're hitting headshots. This is an incredibly fun build. You're going to be able to shoot rockets all the time. Not only does it do crazy crowd control with the homing rockets, it does insane damage against bosses as well. It's something you absolutely have to try. Definitely recommend it. And so far, this has been my favorite build in the last shape. That's it for today's build guide. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, comment in the section what you want to see next. I may make a build video on it. And of course, hit that bell so you don't miss any of future content because we are back making content on this channel. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.